Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I'm again call Halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Karkadash. Double honors the apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and who rule well. This is Naaman. Uh, I decided to do this video because we have, in light of what's going on with this alleged pandemic, all right, still Esau Edom, the so-called white man, knows his greed knows no bounds, all right. And in this article here, this Elamite, who's a venture capitalist himself, a billionaire, he's calling these people out. All right, it says, "Who cares? Let them get wiped out." All right, venture capitalist says, "Let hedge funds fail and save Main Street." All right, and this guy, let's see if I can pronounce this, Kamath Palahataya. All right, says he stunned CNBC anchor Scott Wapner and generated widespread applause on social media by declaring in a television interview Thursday that the U.S. government should let hedge funds and billionaire CEOs get wiped out by the coronavirus-induced economic collapse and instead focus its attention on rescuing Main Street. All right, the people. All right, the people on the bottom rung. He says on Main Street today, people are getting wiped out. And right now, rich CEOs are not. Boards that had horrible governance are not. Hedge funds are not. People are. All right, it says when Wapner, seemingly incredulous at what he was hearing, meaning this is the interviewer, asked Palihapitiya why he would support the collapse of large companies, the social capital CEO said, "This is a lie that's been purported by Wall Street." He explains, he says, when a company fails, it does not fire their employees. It goes through a packaged bankruptcy. If anything, what happens is the people who have the pensions inside the companies, the employees of these companies, end up owning more of the company. The people that get wiped out are the speculators that own the unsecured tranches of debt or the folks that own the equity. And by the way, those are the rules of the game. That's right. These are the people that purport to be the most sophisticated investors in the world. They deserve to get wiped out, all right, because they took unnecessary risk. He says, "Why does anybody deserve using your word to get wiped out from a crisis created like this?" All right, replied the interviewer. He said, "Just be clear, like, who are we talking about?" He said, himself a billionaire. He says, a hedge fund that serves a bunch of billionaire family offices. Who cares? Let them get wiped out. Who cares? They don't get to summer in the Hamptons. Who cares? All right. And in the and it says the U.S. shouldn't bail out billionaires and hedge funds during the coronavirus pandemic. All right. It says after Wapner suggested it would be immoral to let any company get wiped out in an economic crisis, the response was on Main Street today, people are getting wiped out. All right. The average Joe. And right now, rich CEOs are not. Boards that had horrible governance are not. Hedge funds are not. People are, said Palihapitiya. 6 million people just this week alone basically saying, holy mackerel, I don't know how I'm going to make my own expenses for the next few weeks, days, months. So it's happening today to individual Americans. And what we've done is disproportionately prop up and protect poor performing CEOs, companies, and boards. And you have to wash these people out, all right? And that's always been the case with this system as we know it, all right? Because as the saying goes, the rich gets richer, the poor get poor, all right? And it says, I'll play some of it, hold on.
Look at the market, you see what's going on. What do you see today in terms of whether you think we're close or at a bottom and it's time to maybe put some money to work, although I hate to even pose the question that way because it's so uncertain. No one knows what the true bottom is, though you've had some names come on the air and say you've got to if you're in this for the long term.
Yeah, Scott, I wanted to come on today because I think there's a lot I wanted to sort of get off my chest. But let me start with what I think has been apparently obvious psychologically over the last few days, and you've heard it from basically all of your guests, either explicitly or implicitly, which is that they have been so whipsawed that they are so coiled for a rally. And everybody is talking the language of a rally, and everybody, I think, wants to see a rally happen. And whenever there's even an iota of even moderately good news, the market reacts just because it has been so whipped around. Now, if you take a step back, let me give you the bull case on what we're learning. And I think we should start with the science because that's the most important thing. 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was emerging evidence on the value of chloroquine and remdesivir as treatments, even prophylactically, for coronavirus. We saw that coming out of China. It's largely now built up enough clinical validation where what happened today, I think, was very important. Up until today, the CDC, if you went to the website, had literally zero guidance on the efficaciousness of these two drugs, either in treatment or prophylactically if you think you're getting symptoms. And that's an important shift because it starts to change our posture away from the perfect towards the good and not letting perfect being the enemy of the good. And this is something that we were saying for a while, which is that if you relax some of these hyper strict standards that the CDC and FDA had, what it would allow doctors the possibility of doing and scientists the ability to do is to tell us in a projective way what could happen and allow folks to be more aggressive in the types of protocols they use and get that information out broadly. It should not be the case that you have to go to YouTube for ventilators to learn, for anesthesiologists, et cetera, to describe how to string ventilators together. That's not what should be happening. We need government institutions to be at the tip of the spear here in making sure we understand what's happening. So I think that was a good thing. And I think that if we can get broad-based understanding of the value of these drugs in the hands of as many doctors and, frankly, the population at large as possible to know that there are remedies that work for an overwhelmingly large part of the population, that should be very reassuring. But then it shifts to what I think the next thing is we have to do. There's this very famous Winston Churchill quote about the United States, which is that, the United States will do the right thing after it has tried everything else. And this is where we need...
So true. So true. I had forgotten about that. But that is indeed a fact. He did say that. All right. So here's the thing. Let me get some scriptures here. Because if you haven't found out by now that this is all geared to keeping the rich on top and to primarily keep our people down, all right, then I don't know what to tell you. Let's see, Proverbs, let's see, where is that? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. This is pretty much what's going on. It says Proverbs 17, because this country was founded by wickedness and it's been maintained in wickedness. This is Proverbs 17, verse 13 says, whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. All right? Like we've always said, this contrary to what's always stated, this country was not blessed. It was cursed from the outset. All right? Let's see. That's not what I was looking for, but that was a good one nonetheless. Let's see. Here it is. It's Proverbs 18:11 says, the rich man's wealth is his strong city, and is an high wall in his own conceit. All right? Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. All right? Let's see. Let's go to the Apocrypha. All right, let's see. Because none of this is going to help them in the end. All right, let's see. This is here it is. This is Sirach or Ecclesiastes 31. I'll start at the top. Watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. Constantly consumed with getting money, acquiring wealth. That's not good. All right. These people, a lot of them are these Wall Street investors and such, and others. They were mentioned talking about hedge fund execs in the article. Same thing, these 401ks and things of that nature. It says, 2, watching care will not let a man slumber, as a sore disease breaketh sleep. The rich hath great labor in gathering riches together, and when he resteth, he is filled with his delicates. 4, the poor laboreth in his poor state, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. All right? And that's our people. You work, you work, you work. Let me go back to this is this is the state of our people. You can never get ahead. This is Haggai 1 and 6, and it says, ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm, and he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And that's Jake in a nutshell. Because we're still under the curses. All right, and those that select few that think they've made it in this society, well, that's just it. They think they have, and they have all kinds of problems. You can't escape the curses. All right, continuing on, it says 5, it says, he that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. 6, gold hath been the ruin of many, the pursuit of it, and their destruction was present. All right, let's go to let's see. This is 1 Timothy 6 and 9. It says, but 8, it says, and having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. All right, keep it simple. All right, as Paul said, I know, let me say it verbatim. In other words, he knew how to conduct himself when he had little, and also when he had some, when he had a lot. All right, use his world as not to abuse it. Verse 9, it says, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. What do you often hear about people that are in constant pursuit of riches? All right, they either get involved in drugs, sex, both. All right, and eventually they get into some things that they can't get out of, either through divorce, at least losing half of what they got, and hey, in some cases they end up dead. Verse 10, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveteth after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. What did I just say? All right. And the spiritual man in this is what he's going to do. It says, verse 11, but thou, O men of the Most High, flee these things, and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness, the exact opposite. All right, that's why we got to get the hell up out of here. Micah 2 and 10 says what? All right, it says, come up out of her, my people. All right, Micah 2 and 10. It says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. All right? Because in the end, all this is not going to save him. Let's see what some of the comments got. Uh, Again, I had alluded to it. WK 1935 said hedge funds are where most people have their retirement plans. You dumbasses. Let's get the response for that. And Blue Tsunami 2020 says, and if you gamble your money on the stock market and lose, that's your fault. You know that going on, all right? And that's what exactly. Playing with people's money. Remember Enron back in the early 2000s, all right? Let's see. Let's see. That's enough on that. But again, this is all set up. It's rigged. There's no getting around it. So why would you put your faith in something like this that's destined and prophesied to be cast down? All right. And the thing about Esau Edom, it talks about in Habakkuk about, let me see. Let's see. Thinking I'm past it. Yeah, I don't know why I went that far down. This is 5. It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, his doctrine and philosophy, he is a proud man. Talking about Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Neither keepeth at home. He's all around in everybody's business. All right, trying to tell people how to live. It says, who enlarges his desire is hell, is the point, and is as death and cannot be satisfied. All right, and he can't. Let me look up this word. This is going to be avarice. All right. This is avarice. Webster's. Excessive or insatiable desire for wealth or gain. Greediness. Insatiable. Let's get that. Greedy. Marked by greed, having or showing a selfish desire for wealth and possessions. All right. Who does that sound like? He doesn't only want his, he wants yours too. Let's see, dictionary.com. Let's see, or free dictionary. Immoderate desire for wealth, cupidity. All right. Insatiable greed for riches, inordinate, miserly desire to gain and hoard wealth. What is a miser? All right. Let's see. Extreme greed for material wealth. That's Esau Edom. Like I said, I think you got the point. All right. Miser. You think of Ebenezer Scrooge, that character. All right. So that's enough on that. I think everybody's got the point. Of course, I post a link and you can watch the video here. Yeah. What was it, that movie back in the day, Wall Street? What was it, Gordon Gekko said greed is good? Yeah, okay. At the end of the day, you're storing it up, Esau, for us anyway. All right. Daniel 7:18. All right. So with that, once again, this is this venture capitalist Elamite says, it's time for these hedge funds, let them fail. Stop bailing these motherfuckers out. Because all they're going to do, they're never going to learn a lesson. All right? That's what he's actually getting to without actually saying it. And he's right. From 87 from 2000, actually all the depressions and recessions, this is all that's ever happened. All right, supposedly too big to fail. All right, so, all right, so with that, once again, I hope whoever views this is edified. So with that, once again, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors once again to the apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Salutations to the Akim out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth in all honesty and sincerity while trying to wake up the hopefully elect. All right, the remaining hopefully elect. So with that, Shalom and a Bob Ball.